So here we are again. It's always such a pleasure. Welcome back to City Skylines 2, everybody. It's been a minute. I'm not going to go into it. I'm not going to hit you with all the excuses. I'm just going to say it has been one heck of a January, and I have not had the time to do almost anything that I would like to do. It's been a very stressful January, very stressful new year, but I'm hoping it's only going to be upwards from here. Now, like I said, I'm not going to lore dump. I'm not going to info dump. It's not going to be a video that's got, you know, it's black and white piano and all that stuff and woe is me. I want to get back into things with City Skylines 2, and I've got a few ideas for what I'd like to do today. But before we get into that, I want to talk a little bit about the design on the new boulevard, the custom boulevard that we built, I think, in the last episode. I asked all of you for suggestions for what we build in all of the little eye-shaped sections along this boulevard. There were some amazing suggestions. I've noted a whole bunch of them down, and we are going to get around to doing that. That might be something I do in a live stream, since it's going to be solely detailing and not really growing the city, and I want to get back into growing the city a little bit. But I haven't forgotten. I have them all written down. I have some great ideas that I think I'm very excited about that I put on the table. There's some great ideas that you put on the table. So we're going to see what we take out of this buffet of ideas. I'm hungry. I'm doing the food metaphors thing again. It's obvious that I've not had lunch yet. It should be, yeah, it's one of those days. Anyway, real talk, I am not happy with the Sterling project. I don't love how this district has turned out, so I'm going to delete the district itself, and I'm also going to go in and pretty much tear out a good chunk, if not all, of the zoning that's in here, because I just don't love it. I'm going to keep the zoning along this road up here because I don't think it's the worst thing in the world, but pretty much all of these buildings are going to go. I've tried to make this thing work. I've tried so hard. I've got so far, but in the end, it doesn't even matter. It's just, I'm not okay with it. I don't, there was a lot of lyrics in that sentence. I just don't love it. I'm really, this grid's a little bit more boring than I thought it would be. The buildings don't look as cool as I thought they would. There's not as much detailing in here as I was hoping for. So what I'm going to do is basically take this space and take this space along here. I'm going to try and put a bunch of sort of mid-level, probably European-ish looking housing. I might do some row houses as well. I might actually use the North American row houses, because we did use a lot of the European ones over here already. So the North American ones would look very different. But what I also want to do is put a train station in here. We do have this elevated track going through. That's going to have to go down to ground level because there's no elevated stations in City Skylines 2. But I think a train station in here would be cool. And then I want to start playing around with subways a little bit. Also, I don't know if I pointed this out in the last episode or if I even did this in the last episode. I do vividly remember reading a comment that suggested that I put a track above this road here, sort of going along the waterfront. I love that idea. I'm going to keep this idea, even though we're going to turn this into sort of a fancy-ish neighborhood. I'm going to keep this because I love the look of the tracks being elevated above the roads. I think it looks fantastic. So good job to whoever suggested that. I'm giving you you can't see it, but I am giving you a thumbs up. It was fantastic. I love it. We're keeping it. Might make no sense. I might never connect it to anything. A train might never run along that line, but I like how it looks aesthetically speaking. So good job. We're going to keep that. As for the rest of this train line, we're just going to tear it right back to, how far back is this going to need to go? I think we're going to take this right back to about here. We can lower this down at some point and bring it down to ground level, because like I said, I do want to get a train station in here. And I'm sort of thinking the train station is going to have to go probably on Vermont Street here, to be quite honest. I mean, all of this really is just going to go. Because as much as I love the detailing that we have in here, we just sort of don't really need it. So we're just going to go ahead and get rid of it, really. That's kind of the goal here. Now we'll turn off the usual snapping option so I can go in and just start removing all of these guys. We'll bring this up to 100% strength on this brush, and we are just going to tear out all of the trees in this space. I also have another mod installed that lets me control the age of the trees that I'm placing. We might use that. I'm going to be honest. I've kind of gotten used to the idea that the trees in this game grow. I know it's been a little controversial. I know not everybody has loved the fact that the trees have to grow, but I've started to enjoy the fact that to sort of get to see something in its final form. I have to go back and look at it eventually. It's a nice excuse to go back and be like, oh, I remember building that, and look at it now with all the trees. It's like any of these spaces here. These trees are starting to grow in a little bit. The trees along the boulevard are going to grow in a little bit eventually. I mean, are they full? I don't remember if they are. They might be fully grown already. I might be getting used to the line tool as it is. Yeah. I might be talking a lot of. The point is, there's places that we've built, like the old cemetery, the first thing we ever really built in City Skylines 2, that now looks kind of cool. It looks kind of interesting. It didn't look like this when I first built it, but I've gotten kind of used to it. And honestly, yeah, I don't mind it as much as I thought I was going to. I know I was kind of like, ooh, about the whole thing when the game came out, but I don't mind it as much as I thought I would, or at least as much as I used to. We'll go with as much as I used to mind it. And I mean, regardless, really, we now have mods that can control it, and yeah, that's pretty cool. It's nice. I'm really enjoying modding City Skylines 2. I know there was a little bit of like, oh, I don't know if, like, are we really modding this game already when I threw some mods in here, but yeah, we're really modding this game already, because it does kind of need it. It really does. I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I have missed playing City Skylines 2 this past month. I haven't touched it since pretty much the day that the last episode went out. And I've missed it. I have definitely missed it. Ooh, do I want to put a train station right in here? I'm going to have to go over that road somehow. I could put it down this way and then go under that road. That might make more sense. And then this track would have to come down a little bit lower. I think that's what we're going to do, is put this train station a little bit lower. And I'm going to go for... That looks relatively central in that space from left to right. So I think we'll go with this. We're kind of just winging it here a little bit. I'm not really... I'm not looking for something perfect. Oh, I've also got the ability to add fertile land and stuff like that as well. Like I said, a bunch more mods in here now. I'm kind of looking forward to playing around with all of them. But yeah, I have missed playing City Skylines 2. I've also kind of been enjoying playing City Skylines 1 again, because it is kind of nice having that level of control. It's nice having all of those mods again. It's nice. It's just nice. It is. And it's a weird feeling. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to speak a little candidly about City Skylines 2. I was genuinely thinking that when this game sort of came out, I probably wasn't going to touch Cities 1 again. I had the idea that we were probably going to finish the sort of vanilla series and we were gonna, you know, wrap that up. So going back to Cities 1 was always sort of on the cards. It was always part of the plan, but I didn't expect to go back to Cities 1 as much as I have. I didn't expect to enjoy going back to Cities 1 as much as I have. And I think part of that is that in all, you know, complete and total honesty, I am a little frustrated with the state of City Skylines 2. I think I've talked about this before. I had some plans to do sort of a big old video that was like, here's my real... I did do, you know, an actual sort of impressions in City Skylines 2, and I did talk about sort of what I thought of the game and the state of the game and all that kind of stuff. I think everyone's kind of talked about it at this point, and there's definitely a consensus that not everybody's happy, and sort of rightly so. I think not everybody's happy. I'm not gonna begrudge anyone their opinion or their belief that the game released perhaps a little bit too early, but it's yeah, I'm definitely enjoying bouncing back and forth between the two games. It's made it a little bit more of a pleasant experience in a sort of weird roundabout way, and I don't know if that's a good thing about Cities 2, that I'm kind of really enjoying going back. It's not even a nostalgia thing, right? Like if I go back and play a game from my childhood, it's a nostalgia thing, right? If I go back and play the original Halo or something like that, it's kind of a nostalgia thing. It's not really that with City Skylines 1, because I've been playing it most days, every day for almost a decade now. we're coming up on 9 years, so it's not like it's a nostalgia thing. It's just kind of like, oh yeah, that's am I really gonna... This might be a little shady of me to say, but oh yeah, that's what a finished game feels like. That's what a finished city builder plays like. Oh man, I love Paradox. I absolutely love and adore Paradox. I'm so grateful for having had so many opportunities to work with that company over the years. But Cities 2 is just, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't a little disappointed at this point with just sort of a lot of the things that have gone on. I'm still hopeful. Genuinely, I am still hopeful, but yeah, as much as I have missed playing this in the last month or so, I also sort of have enjoyed the break to just play Cities 1 and some other video games as well. Anyway, rambling aside, it's, you know, train stations going in here. It's going to have to go through these parking lots. It's going to go underneath this bridge. Let's go ahead and get this road connected up again. I had to get this all in here nicely, and we'll just get everything reconnected, get this all working, and just see if we can get some trains in here. I've no idea if it's going to be a popular line, but my idea, I think honestly, my idea is going to be to go ahead and get some subway stations in here. Now, we could build a subway yard in here. That might be a bit much though. I want this to be, no, that would definitely be a bit too much. This thing's huge. We're going to have to build that out by the airport, but I want to put a subway station opposite the train station. And I guess we get rid of these guys as well. Okay, this ended up being such a pain to get this building to grow the way I wanted it to. I had to use developer mode and just search for EU mixed and then place these buildings manually, which is fine. I'm trying not to do that. I did the same with the 5x5 buildings here because there are no 5x6 buildings. So these guys have built, but they're all level 1. They'll upgrade eventually, and that's honestly fine. I'm not 100% sure what is going on with all of this zoning. Like, I don't get why the buildings are coming in all these sort of weird shapes and sizes. Like, why have we got some small? It's really testing me today. Give me the larger buildings. Give me the large. Oh my god. give me. Nope. Not what I'm looking for. I want the. We're not playing this game today, Cities. We are we are not doing this today. Not at all. Get that out of there. Get that out of there. Give me another 6x6 right there. And then give me a little 3x3. No, that's not what I'm, nope. I don't even know if 3x3 exists. I'm not going to lie. Is there a 3x4? There we go. And then probably a 3x2 right in there. Yep, that'll do. I'll allow it. That's good enough is what it is. It's good enough. What have we got down here? We got a 6, we got a 5. Again, you know what? Good enough. We're not playing silly games today is what we're not doing. We're getting things done in here. Now, I mentioned earlier that I was going to put a subway station across the road from Vermont Street Station here. Turns out I don't need to. I forgot that there is a subway interface that I can build into this station. So we're absolutely going to be doing that. But before we do, I need to figure out where I'm going to build a subway yard. And this is going to be a little tricky. I was thinking we'd build it near the regional airport, but I'm suddenly not so sure. I don't love that we're having traffic problems out here. I'm not a huge fan of the fact that we're having traffic problems out here. I do think I have some mod somewhere that's going to let me do more with traffic lights. I'm really not 100% sure if I can do much with them here. I don't know what mods I'm running anymore. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I've really got no idea, but this is a thing. It's a thing that we'll deal with. At least traffic here isn't as bad as it has been. We do, by the looks of it, have a tram that's having a bit of a crisis, though, that seems to have stopped every other tram in my city from running. This guy right here, I'm gonna need you to go away, and I don't know if I can do much about that. I wonder if I can maybe just hit the road with like trying to update the nodes or something. Is that something I can do here? Like update this at all? Maybe give it like a retaining wall. Is that going to update it? Nope. No, that tram is, yeah, that tram's having trouble is what it's doing. How has this happened? How does this, I don't even know what end of the tram's which. I'm guessing that's the front end. How long is it going? Does it show? Oh my God. Hold on a minute. Oh, it's going and it's gone. Oh, so moving the tram stop seems to have fixed it, which is, there's the game auto saving again, which is better, right? That's a good thing. Hopefully all this traffic can now start moving and the trams can get back out into the city. I guess that would explain why traffic has gotten so bad. The trams just aren't running and everyone's decided they're taking cars again. Hopefully that doesn't happen again. I don't love that McGregor Island has been so backed up, but again, hopefully they'll figure it out and everything will be okay. Anyway, We do need to figure out where the subway yard, is that what the subway yard? Yeah, is going to go. I'm thinking maybe here. If I flattened out some of this mountain, we could definitely do it there. We could do it way out here as well. I mean, at the end of the day, the lines are going to go underground anyway. I'm not going to have any above ground subways because I just don't think I need them. So we could just build a little yard out here and just sort of roll with that. That might be the way to do it. Actually, I think what I'm going to do is build it near the landfill. We have this little bit of space right here. We have a train track already existing here. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the roads around this landfill to sort of act as guidelines a little bit. So we'll bring something over a bit like this for now. And is that big enough to fit a subway yard? No. So if I bring this road over and I go to, say, here, is that now far enough away for a subway yard? It absolutely is. So I'm thinking the subway yard is, it's going to live pretty much here. And that's totally fine. So it's going to live there. I think I'm going to bring some roads kind of down along this thing a little bit, right down to the edge there. I'm going to bring a road sort of right up to the edge of it here. It's not going to be connecting to the landfill. It's going to have its own little highway connection. And honestly, I'm kind of tempted to say that what we do here is just bring this guy out, say 6 units, bring this down to like here. I don't feel like we need to go too crazy with this. I feel like we can just connect this thing straight to the highway and kind of have that be that at the end of the day. I think that's about all we need to do here. So if I bring this out a little bit further, maybe bring it in a little bit closer actually. So that is 7.8 units. That is 5 point something. So maybe bring it to here. That gives us 7.3, 6.25. I'm kind of okay with that. I think that's what we're going to do. And we'll just put a little roundabout there. I know I've got so many roundabouts along this highway. I've seen a few people mentioning that there are a ridiculous number of roundabouts along my main highway, but that's actually, oh, what is going on here? Why are you all going, what? Why? Oh, cities. Cities Skylines II, man. Why? Why are you all going down there? How is, look, I will accept the idea that the pathfinding in this game might break down a little bit when you get above 100,000 people. I get it. It's a very intense simulation, but in what world does this make sense? This is like, I'm trying to hold my tongue. I'm trying to be nice. I'm trying to be polite. I'm really not wanting every video that I do in this game to be like, oh, there's another funny bug. But I mean, really, we're doing this. We're deciding that it is in fact faster to just go down here around a roundabout and continue. How does, I don't even know. I just don't know. You know what? Doesn't matter. I'm going back to my subway yard. That's what matters. My subway yard is important. The path. This game, man. Anyway, I want to get some parking lots out here because I do. I like putting parking lots by these buildings. I know I don't need a giant parking lot, but you know what? I want a giant parking lot. I'm getting a giant parking lot, so we're doing a giant parking lot. I also realize I can probably shuffle this over by about 1. And then we will just bring this road here, sort of down and around. If I go to about here, that is 11. So I think if I go 22, I want to say 22. I want to say just a regular old road as well. So 22 units to about there. Bring this over to about there. Bring it straight up like this. Is that enough space for me to put a second parking lot? It absolutely is. So I'm absolutely going to. They have got slightly different textures. I don't know that I love that. So I'm going to swap it out and see if I can get the slightly lighter one again. That is, yeah, I'll allow that. That seems fine. Next thing I'm going to do is just swap out this road for absolutely nothing. I forgot that Cities 2 doesn't have a small road with a median. So this is, this is what we're doing. That's fine. We can put some trees around this, make it a little bit more dense. And honestly, that's just going to be the subway yard. It really doesn't need to be crazy fancy. I just want it to be near these train tracks because that sort of makes sense to me. Okay, so with all of this connected, I'm going to leave this side disconnected because there's no point connecting it to anything. Everything's going to run out this way. This is going to run underground in just a second, but I think what I'm going to do is place another road maintenance depot in here just because I can. I think it would be nice to have a little bit more functionality to this space. I have a few road maintenance depots around the place. I think I have one over by the airport as well. But having more of these just seems like a good idea. It seems like it's definitely probably worth having as many of these as possible to keep the roads nicely maintained. So that's what we're going to go for. And I think we're also going to go for a bit of a tree brush right here. I'm going to make this a little bit smaller. And I'm just going to try and fill this space with a few larger trees just to sort of make up for the fact that we did just, you know, clear quite a few of them out. I don't really want them on the road, but I'm going to just go with, I'm going to use Anarchy to do this so I can really get them in here and just make this place look a little bit more dense here and there. We'll do some chestnut trees as well. I don't know what age I'm going for here, sort of mid-level in the age of the trees. We'll just get a few just in this space to make it look, like I said, a little bit more built up, a little bit more grown, and like it's maybe been here for a little bit longer, just to sort of really set this thing into the environment. And then what we can do is go out of underground mode and just clear a few of them away from the roads. A few of them off the roads as well is definitely going to be a must right about there, and probably there as well. And then up this way, we have a few on the tracks as well. So we'll clear all of those guys out. And honestly, I think I'm probably okay with that. I think that'll do. We'll go ahead and make this a little bit of a district so that it's nicely labeled like everything else that we have going on out here. And then we can build ourselves a little subway connection to the, well, I guess to the train station that we've just built, as well as a few subway stations just around the city in general. And then we'll get those going. Hopefully they're going to be popular. Hopefully people are going to enjoy them about as much as they enjoy the trams and all that good stuff, but we will find out. Now, I'm going to be honest, I've never actually seen the little subway interface for this building at all. I'm kind of excited about it though. It looks to be that bit at the front, which is kind of neat. Looks like it has some platforms underneath that I'm very excited to start using. Also kind of happy with how this area is developed. Got some cool looking buildings across here. Obviously got the European looking ones at the back. These ones are apparently European. I somewhat disagree, but that's whatever. Let's go ahead and upgrade this with a subway interface as well. And let's upgrade this other one with a subway interface right about here. Now, we do have trains that run between these two stations right up this way. We have the Emerson station, and I think is it the Applegate station as well. I'm actually going to go ahead and rename these guys. So we've got train station at the moment. Let me just put Applegate right in front of that. So it's actually Applegate train station. And then this one over here was in Emerson Square, so it is now going to be the Emerson train station. And we have got one out by, do we have one over here? We do not have one anywhere near this suburb. Interesting. I think I did toy around with the idea of building a train station by this suburb at one point, but I don't think I ever went through with it. And then we don't really have one around here either. We might want to consider that. It might not be a terrible idea to have a train connection out to the suburb. We do have this space here where we could reasonably build something, but I'll think about it. At the very least, we have one by Primrose Campus, so we'll go ahead and rename this guy to Primrose Train Station. And then what do we call this place? It was Victoria Glen. So I guess we'll call this, what are we going to call this? You know what? We're going to name it after a real train station that I've been to a few times. Great Victoria Street Station. I think it's something that's a train station in Belfast. And then Cypress Street is going to be renamed to Great. Can I get a capital G on this? Great Victoria Street is what we're going to go for. So go with that. That seems fine. So we have all the stations named. I don't know if that makes any difference whatsoever. I genuinely have no idea. It doesn't really matter. I'm not going to bring subways out here though. It's just going to be the city stations that have the subway connections. And then I guess for dedicated subway stations elsewhere, we have one down here, which is fine. We could have one by the high school. I don't know that we need it necessarily. We could have one in here, but I'm trying to figure out what this line is going to be. We could have all of them run through Applegate if we wanted to. So have one from Emerson to Applegate, maybe stopping somewhere in the middle. I don't know necessarily where it's going to stop. Maybe somewhere along here we could turn off anarchy, get rid of one of these buildings or a couple of these buildings, and then sort of go from there. So maybe a station in here. It actually would fit quite nicely down this way. So I think that's what we're going to do, is take out that building and then build ourselves a metro station right about there. So we'll go from Emerson down to this station, and then from this station over to here. So it's quite a short line. And then from down this way, we'll sort of cut up, meaning we're going to want to come into Rosewood, I think. And then that's the question. Where am I going to put a train station or a metro station in Rosewood? It's going to be a pretty sharp bend up this way. So I'm kind of looking at this corner and thinking that maybe we redevelop this corner a little bit. We have some beautiful old row houses in here we're going to get rid of. Maybe we throw a metro station right on the corner itself, which is honestly fine. It's got a bus stop right next to it as well, which is kind of exciting. And then I guess around this, what do I want to build? I could do some, we do have a little bit of demand for medium density housing. So what if we were to do a little bit of just EU medium density housing there? Maybe something a little bit larger like that. Although this, I don't know if that's actually going to build, which is a little bit frustrating. What if I just do this? So this entire bit's blocked here because I guess nothing wants to build on this road, which was very much intentional. I didn't really want anything building on that road. I wanted all my row houses, but now I do kind of want something in here. Can I do, would that look okay? Just having a slightly larger building in there. And then if I was to try and do something in this space, it might just have to be decorative because nothing wants to build there. So, I mean, I could do some parks. We could do like a little small park and take away some of that building. Small plaza, a little bit too large. A small playground doesn't seem terrible. Although a dog park fits in there beautifully. Do we have a dog park across the way? Yeah, we do. That's a dog park right there. Never mind. Let's just do, we have a large playground. Let's do a little small one. I'm going to say right about there in the middle. And then I'll just surround it with some bushes, some trees and all that stuff to make it look a little bit nicer. We'll just get a couple of things in here. We'll go for some larger trees so it looks like it's been here for a while. A couple of chestnut trees, maybe a nice big oak tree in that corner. And I don't know, some bushes. Have we got anything colorful? I'm really, really missing that one pink tree from City Skylines 1 that I absolutely love and adore. All right, so with that in mind, we're going to be bringing both of those lines up to Applegate Station. From Applegate Station, we're going to want to maybe just do a single line. This is going to start pulling attention away from the trams, I think, but that probably makes sense that we're going to be looking at the metro as a little bit of a replacement for the trams. I'm never going to get rid of the trams. I love the trams. We love the trams, let's be honest. But this is sort of looking to replace them a little bit. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at this corner here and find something to replace. I don't want to have a big gap, a big empty space next to this existing track. We could chop out this corner if we really wanted to and use that as a spot. It's actually kind of a perfect spot for the metro station. So I think that's kind of what we're going for there. And I think what I'll do is use some of these poplar trees just to sort of border it and make it look like kind of its own thing. So we'll do a little something just like that. And honestly, that looks fine. It kind of lines up with the poplar trees in front of the elementary school anyway. So that's going to be a line that comes straight out of here, straight to the elementary school. And I don't think it's going to go any further. We can bring a second line out of here. I could, do we want to do a subway? Do we have a subway interface for this guy? I don't know that we do. I don't think we do at all. That's fine. We could do a subway station at the airport. It would make sense to do a subway station at the airport because we only have buses coming out here right now. No, we have trains as well. I'm an idiot. I think we're fine. I think you can get a subway to a train station, hop on a train, go out to the airport. Obviously, a subway would be a little bit more direct, but I think we're okay for the time being. So we'll bring this out to the elementary school. Do I want to bring something down through Pinewood North? I suppose we could. We could bring something out, sort of cut it down through Pinewood North, down into Pinewood South, down into Laurel Grove. I think for now I'm going to hold off though. I think for the time being, we're going to chill a little bit and we're just going to see what we can get away with. We're going to see how effective the metro actually is. And we're not going to get you know, too carried away with this whole thing, because I've never used metro lines in City Skylines 2. I've got no idea how effective or ineffective these things might be. So we'll play it safe. We'll be a little bit cautious with it, and we will just sort of see what we can do here. I am going to try to make these make a little bit of sense, though. I'm not going to do what I usually do in City Skylines, which is have my metro lines just be horrendously angular. So we'll have some nice curves on here. We'll make it sort of make sense, because that's a thing that realistically should matter. And so that's what we're going to do. We'll bring this guy sort of straight out here. Is it going to line up nicely with this? I don't know that it is. So maybe this one's sort of going to come out to here. We are going to do a nice sort of big old curve right about here. So 18 by, we'll do 18.5 by 18 down to about there, which should bring these guys into a decent little bit of contact. If I go something like this, honestly, might be close enough. I don't know about this bend. This actually, looking at it, is it's going to be a little bit sharp. Definitely a little bit sharp. You know what I was saying about how I was going to like totally make them make sense? Now I'm not saying I'm not going to do that, but there's definitely a chance. There's definitely a chance here that I'm sort of reconsidering that choice. I think that one looks fine. That one looks great, actually. So that's pretty good. This one, on the other hand, we'll figure it out. I think, if anything, what I could probably do here is take this whole part out and then maybe just bring this guy sort of... Do I want to do that? That's also going to be really, really sharp. Although I guess this is okay. This sort of little cut across here looks fine. This winds across really nicely. And then what I'm going to do for this guy is sort of something similar. We're going to use the complex curve tool to do this. We're going to go about a third of the way, which is roughly there. We are going to go to about here. And that should mean I can run straight into this guy. And again, that's a relatively nice looking line. Again, it could be straighter, but that's fine. As for this one, probably a similar story. We will, yeah, we're going to need to curve this a little bit. So we'll bring it up sort of this way. And then can I, by chance, get this to curve really nicely into this station? It kind of looks like that works. I don't hate that. I mean, again, it's not all angular and jagged. It's kind of going, it's a little bit of a spaghetti thing that we've got going on. And I've also just realized, I mentioned that I'm not going to do a subway station by the airport, but I'm going to have subway lines by the airport. So realistically, I might as well get a little subway station out here. Now, annoyingly, to get this thing in the center of this whole space, I'm going to have to start by taking out this path. And then I'm going to have to sort of freeform the subway station by turning off the all the snapping tools. So that looks to be roughly our midpoint. So I'm kind of willing to go for right about there. And that should be fine. Around this, I obviously want to do some paths because we want people to be able to get around the space. We'll bring some paths in right about here. Bring a path in right about there. Bring a path right across there. And I should probably do some detailing out here at some point as well, but we'll get to that. First things first, we need to connect this to everything else. So we need to start right over here by taking this guy underground. So looking at the connections here, this curves in really nicely. It goes straight to the airport. Obviously, that's just sort of access to the subway yard. But what I'm thinking I might actually do here is go ahead and put a station somewhere by Laurel Grove and Pinewood South. We'll run some tracks straight up and into Applegate Station. So to me, it might make sense to sort of use this corner. I do kind of really like this building, so I don't know if I necessarily want to get rid of it. This one I like a little bit less. So this one I think I will get rid of. This one can sort of go away. We can go in here and get ourselves a station. We'll turn on snapping. We're just going to put it right on that corner. We can hopefully get some buildings around it, which we absolutely can, and that seems fine. I'm sort of okay with that. So now what we'll do is just run a line straight out here as best we can. We need it to stay nicely underground, so it's going to dip down like that. And it is, I guess, we're going to go and do something a bit like this. We'll bring this guy sort of straight out. And then we just need those to connect together in a way that kind of makes sense. So I'm thinking what we maybe do here is eyeball it a little bit and see if I can get these to have just one big old curve. I have my doubts, but let's try that. That's actually not bad. I'm actually kind of willing to work with that. I'm kind of willing to, yeah, that looks fine. Just a big old curve into the city. This one's going to run straight up to the existing tracks. And then it's probably time to get some subway lines in here. And I mean, looking at it from above, it's definitely not ideal. We're definitely kind of missing this major space here. But my idea is that the subway is kind of a get from one side of the city to the other, or from one side of the city to the middle of the city. So we're going to start with a line that's going to run from, can I get underground views on this? I absolutely can. We're going to start with a line that runs from here, and it is going to run into whatever this is, Applegate Station, right about there. And it's going to continue down to this elementary school. It's going to come back to Applegate Station, and it's going to go back to Emerson Square. So that's kind of my thinking for that line. And that's totally okay. I'm kind of thinking we do something similar down here, but I'm almost wondering if this should be a bit of a back and forth. So this one goes as far as Applegate Station. You would then have to transfer onto the Emerson line. So this one will kind of get you in and out of this particular part of the city, and then you can go transfer to another line. So that seems okay. And then maybe the airport should be kind of a similar thing. So you would start kind of down here at the airports. It's going to bring you up to whatever this district was. It's going to bring you into Applegate Station, and then it's going to sort of take you back. So we have a line that crosses the city, but we also have lines that'll get you to and from, you know, certain areas. I'm kind of okay with that. And I also kind of really want to see the subway trains because I haven't seen them yet. I've got no idea what they look like. And they actually, oh my God, wait a minute. They do not sound, I think the sound design on these things might be really good. It is, that's pretty good. That sounds like a subway train. I'm really pleased with that. That's actually kind of great. Okay. I don't care that they're green, by the way. I'm never going to see them. So, oh, that's so good. That is so good. We might have too many of them. There's a solid chance that we're going to have way more trains than we actually need, but I think for the time being, I'm willing to experiment. I'm willing to see how things go. I'm willing to see what my people think of the new subway trains. And I guess while I'm waiting for all that to happen, I probably should figure out what I'm doing with this station because I've got no idea right now. What does it actually connect to? So it goes past everything. This is sort of a direct shot potentially from the region to this station. It could go to Emerson, actually. I don't think it needs to, though, now that I think about it. It probably really doesn't need to. There's also a mod that I have in mind that I totally forgot to go and get. It's a mod that lets you define the actual number of vehicles on a line. So if we look at this cargo route, for example, we can only assign down to like 50% of the vehicles up to, I think, 150 or 200% of the vehicles. You can't just assign a number. I think there's a mod that lets you just go from like 1 to 20 or something like that, or 1 to 50, and actually just assign a number of vehicles to a line instead of this weird like little slider thing. I need to get my hands on that because I think that would make so much more sense. But anyway, for the time being, I'm going to leave this station be. I do want to get some trains going through. You know what? Actually, maybe we don't leave it be. Maybe what we do here is we create a new passenger line. It's going to run from here. It is going to run out to Primrose Campus. We'll have, can I get to the other platform? I absolutely can. We'll go to this platform, which is fine. I might have to sort of use a different platform coming back, but that's okay. We'll go to that platform. We are going to go to this platform, and then we're sort of going to come back. Now, like I said, kind of annoyingly, it's going to have to cross over a little bit because I haven't upgraded this this station, but honestly, I'm kind of okay with that. This isn't going to be a busy line, I don't think. And we'll just do this. So we'll have a little passenger line going from this space out to Victoria Glen out to the campus and then back. That should be okay. I'm just excited to see people using the metro. I'm not going to lie. But anyway, before we get to that, I do want to come in here and I do want to build another road. I want to build a little alleyway in here because otherwise we can't zone on a good chunk of this road. So what I'm going to do is basically just build an alleyway that goes to here. And then as you can see, we can build along this entire thing. We can't build perfectly down here, which is okay. I'm not really too worried about that. I just don't know where I'm going to connect the alley to at the moment. Although I guess down here might be the option. It doesn't seem like it's going to want me to do that, but I can use anarchy to do that. I don't know if the game's going to be happy about me doing that. I don't think the game is happy about me doing that, but that's what I'm going to do. that's the way that's going to work. And then over here, I think I'm probably going to do exactly the same thing. We'll sort of push this down. And that's just a little road that we're going to put some stuff on because we can't put it all on this road here. So this will be decorative. We'll have some trees. It'll look great. We'll just have Hawthorne Lane be Hawthorne Lane. That's totally fine. As for buildings, I think it's going to be a similar story. We'll do EU high density. Well, I think EU mixed use would look so much better here. It really would. It would look so much better, but I think EU high density is kind of the angle that we're going to have to go for. We'll do some high density here. I would like that to be a single building. I'd like that. I'd like it to be... I hate this. Every time. There we go. Every time. I hate it every single time. Oh, man. Okay. Ooh, what would look better here? You know what? We're going to do the mixed use. Is what we're going to do. We're going to do EU mixed use right along here. I'm going to do 6 by 6. We'll do 6 by 6 down here as well. And I'm just going to try and get a bunch of 6 by 6 buildings the entire way across here. I don't know that the terrain is going to look all that good. I'm going to be honest, because it is going to sort of pull the terrain down quite considerably. But I'm willing to play this game a little bit and see how things go. Am I going to have enough space? I'm not going to have enough space for 6 by 6 across the board, am I? That's unfortunate. Can I do 5? I could do 5 and have a gap. I don't want to have a gap in here. That's really frustrating. Okay, we'll do it this way. We will sort of push these buildings back a little bit. So we have our 6 by 6 buildings the entire way across. We'll just have a bit of a weird gap down at the end, and that's totally fine. Oh, no, this is pretty cool. We actually do have people, by the looks of it, going into the subway. We can also do station services, which I think would be a great idea for a subway next to an airport. We have 43 people waiting under there. We have a train down below at the moment as well, which I think is pretty neat. Let's have a look at our stats. We're up to 450. So passengers on subway line 1, 319, 278, 172. Honestly, not bad. Definitely not bad. Although I will say, I kind of want to bring these usage stats up a little bit. So I almost wonder, so how many people can be on a single train? 1,000 on a single subway train. Okay. So basically we're going to stick with 1 vehicle per line until we have need for more. I don't think, I mean, yes, more regular subway trains would be great. I think that might encourage people to use it a little bit more. But I mean, this one has 163 out of 1,000. We're going to go down a little bit. We're also going to make these quite cheap, I think, like $5 per ticket for each of the subway lines. Seems like a pretty solid bet. That seems like a good way to encourage people to use the subway. And I think as we fill up the trains, we can then go and put another train on each line. That just seems like it makes sense. So as people use it more, it will become more sort of regularly scheduled. That's my thinking. Whether or not it makes sense, that's my thinking. The trams are really suffering right now. I almost wonder, are they still stuck over here? They are not, which is good. Where are they stuck? Because there's only 4,500 people using my trams right now, and I refuse to believe that my tram network has fallen off that badly. Although looking at it, they don't seem to be stuck anywhere. There's just, I mean, there's a lot of people waiting there. Do we have any traffic jams along here? No, the trams are just, well, maybe the trams really did just fall off. That's really unfortunate. I love that tram network. I really did. I love that tram network. It's, that's kind of a shame. This looks good though. This actually looks great having these along here with the train station behind it. I like that a lot. I really do. I'm also thinking I might shuffle this road along just a little bit, because what I can do if I were to extend this little alleyway just ever so slightly to there is I can get my final 6x6 building. So that's what I'm going to do. Yes, there's a pillar in the middle. Okay, you know what? You know what? We're going to bring this over a little bit further. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to bring it to here, actually, then bring it down. That doesn't look like it messes with the zoning, which is good. We're going to do this, and that's going to get me my building. That seems fine. I can live with that. It's a little longer than it needs to be, but it gets us all over a bit. Oh, wait, no. Totally forgot to fix the zoning. Wait, no. No. Did that mess up my zoning? It messed up my zoning. Of course it did. Okay. We're not doing that. We're not playing this game, cities. We're not doing this. There we go. That's going to look so much better. And then what I can do is I can just decorate this little space here with a whole bunch of stuff. So what I'm thinking is we can start with some bushes. I should mention, by the way, these are showing as, having their leaves all orange and stuff. It is winter right now, but one of the mods I'm using, I think it's Legacy Flavor or something like that. It lets you basically go in and lock the game to a certain like daylight setting, to a certain weather pattern. Let me know if that's something that you're okay with. If you want to see the snow and all that stuff, absolutely, we can do that. I haven't asked, I haven't asked. I don't know if that's something that we appreciate from a viewership point of view. I understand if you don't, and if you prefer not to see the snow, but I also understand if you do want to see the snow. So if you do want to see the snow, let me know, and we can bring the snow back. It's snow problem. Yeah, we can do that. We have the technology. It's too early in the day for that. Yeah, we can bring the snow back though. It's absolutely no issue. I just figured we'd try it out for today and see how things go without the snow laying on the ground. It's kind of nice. I'm not gonna lie. The game does get a little bit gray during winter, so it is kind of nice not having it be quite as gray as it gets. But I'd be lying if I said I didn't kind of miss it. A little part of me does kind of miss the snow. So yeah, absolutely let me know in the comments below, and we can bring the snow back if that's something we want. I think for decorating this entire space, I'm gonna lean into the poplar trees again. And I think what we'll do is space these guys out something like, I think we'll put them sort of closer to the little alleyway. We'll do something like 10.3 meters. And we can do something a little bit like, honestly, a little bit like that, I think is fine. Do we want to do maybe 11.3, maybe 9.3, maybe 8? No, definitely not 8.3. Let's do 12.3. Let's do 13. Nope, let's do 12.3. We'll get them a little bit closer to the highway there. And that, I think, looks pretty solid. It also just turned into spring. That's why everything just got a little bit warmer looking, which is totally fine. So we have those poplar trees there. I don't necessarily think I want to overdo it. I think the poplar trees along that'll be fine. They do still have a bit of growing to do, so that's all right. And then I think the birch trees, we can just do a little line of them in here to sort of fill this space. So we have a little something on that little patch of grass. That looks, honestly, I'm kind of okay with that. I am kind of okay with that. I'm not against doing this. As for this space though, I'm kind of thinking, do I want to do a median? Do I want to change this to a 4-lane divided road and then put some grass down the middle of it? Part of me really does. Part of me likes that idea. I think the median's good. I think it's good for traffic flow. We don't have traffic sort of cutting across each other, especially since this is like the main road, or the only road really, into this space. But when it comes to detailing, do I want to do grass? I think I do. I think I want to do grass down the middle, and I think I want to do trees down the middle as well. I think we're going to make this place just look that little bit nicer. These guys are obviously going to have to grow, which is totally fine. And then as a final touch for this space, we're going to put some trees in between all these buildings. We've got to get some paths in alongside these buildings again. And I think this is definitely a bit of an improvement over the projects that were here before. I want to come back to that project's idea. I have some ideas. I just bit my lip and it really hurt. Just in case, just so you know. Yeah, I have some ideas for what we could do for some project style projects, but I don't think we're there yet. I don't think I know as much about City Skylines 2 as I'd like to know to be able to pull that off. I also wonder, can I do this? Is that? Oh no. Oh no, hold on a minute. Let's not do that. Let's never mind. We'll get rid of that. That looks terrible. We'll keep that little road, that little path. Keep this little building. We'll keep all these paths through here. We have a lot of green space to play with. Let's get some trees in here. Let's make it look pretty. And let's call it a day on, I think we'll probably continue to call this, well, this is Vermont Street. Yeah, you know what? We'll continue to call this, we'll call it Sterling District. We'll get a name on here shortly, but I want to get some landscaping in here. I want to get some detailing in here, and I want to make it look pretty. All right, so with the detailing done in here, and it is mostly just a bunch of trees to kind of tie everything together, I do want to get some zoning in here as well. Now, we don't have that much demand for medium density zoning right now, and we really don't have any demand for high density zoning, which is fine. I probably wasn't going to do any high density stuff in here anyway. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here with another alleyway, because we do have some space here where, once again, we can't necessarily do anything in terms of zoning. So I'm going to bring an alleyway across here, and I am just going to deliberately bring it across this road. Yes, that is going to create a teeny tiny little section of road over there that might be a problem, but honestly, it's not the end of the world. I'm not really too concerned about it. We'll go ahead and put a little connection right here as well. That doesn't behave all that nicely, though. Maybe we aren't going to do that. Maybe we bring it sort of up and around this transformer station. Although even that, honestly, I would kind of like to move. I might have to do that. I think maybe this thing gets moved up to, I mean, even here isn't a great spot for it. There's not really any great spot for this thing as far as I'm concerned. Maybe we just do another little sort of alleyway here, and then the transformer station can go into the space behind some buildings in there. That might be the best thing that we can do right about there. It does mean I need to go in and take out some of those cables. So we'll take out all these guys to about there. We'll go in and get ourselves some new underground cables. And honestly, I'm just going to connect it straight like that. So it's still doing the same job. There might be a bit of a bottleneck here, but I'm willing to give it a shot. I'm willing to see what happens there. And as for this road, honestly, I think right to there is fine. And then looking at this space, it probably would have made sense to continue this one straight through as well, but we'll just change it up a little bit. Maybe this building was here, you know, historically speaking, maybe this building was here before the little alleyway thing got done. I don't know. It doesn't make sense. We're just kind of improvising. I don't go into this with a plan, you know? It's not just in case you ever thought that my rambling was scripted. Nah, I'm winging it every time. You know, this is definitely a bit of a weird layout in here, but I'm also kind of okay with it. I like the idea that we're going to have this little waterfront section with a bunch of trees. I like the idea that a lot of the buildings in here are going to be on alleyways. I think that's kind of interesting. But I think what I'm going to do as well is just focus a little bit on some of the commercial zoning, because that is kind of what we need right now. That's what we have a lot of demand for. So we'll get some stuff in here like this. We'll go ahead and get a little commercial building right about there and there as well. And it's going to be sort of a similar story across here. I'm just going to go and do these sort of 6x6 blocks for the time being, just to get the larger buildings in here. We'll do a little 6x6 here. We'll do a 6x6 here. And then this is going to be annoying. Maybe we take you out of there. We'll take you out of there. And can I do 5 and 5 and I don't love that. I don't necessarily love that. It's not it's not a great looking layout. We can do a little something like this though. We'll maybe fill that in and get just some kind of weird looking building. That's fine. I'm not necessarily going to do the same on this side of this avenue though. I think over in this corner, absolutely. We'll do a little something here. We'll have, you know what, we'll have those guys be back to back. That's totally fine. Fill this space in. Similar story there. I think down here, again, kind of similar story. And maybe to, you know, this spot as well. This is not going to get filled in. This is going to be mixed use and residential. And I guess up here arguably is going to be much of the same. So we'll fill that space in. I am going to prioritize some larger buildings down here though. Now I will say I was thinking we could do some decorating in front of this parking lot, but I don't think we need to. And actually, looking at this, I almost wonder, what size is this? That's 4. We could do 4 by 4. Oh, no, that's not 4. That's 5. We could do 4 by 4, though, and do a path between them. I don't think we need to. Maybe we just do a bunch of 5 by 5s here and see how that turns out. I think that is what I'm going to go for. It's a bunch of 5 by 5 buildings at the top end of things here. We'll see what kind of space we have in the middle. So we could do 4 by 5 or 4 by 4, whatever. And then down this way, we'll just do a bunch of 4 by 4s. So when it comes to the residential zoning in here, I've kind of decided to do a mix of things. We're going to do some EU mixed housing. We're going to do some EU medium density housing, but we're also going to do some North American style row houses just because we haven't really used them. And I think they might look good. So that's basically the plan. That's the goal here, is we're just going to use what I think looks interesting. And I'm inclined to say that I think some medium density row houses along here would look pretty good as well. So we're going to do the usual trick of not zoning right to the edges. And I think, honestly, I'm going to do sort of similar here as well. We'll do a little bit of mixed use on the avenue. But we'll have these row houses. We'll keep these spaces back here maybe a little bit more open. We could do some medium density stuff and kind of keep that gap right there if I really wanted to. I don't know that I necessarily want to do this, but I'm going to give it a shot. We'll do some EU mixed stuff right about here and right about here as well. We'll let those sort of build in. We'll leave all these gaps very intentionally around here. These guys are also just medium density housing. They're not row houses. I don't know if I want row houses facing out onto this little lane because really they're going to be looking at the train tracks. But then again, I guess, you know what? We'll give it a shot. We'll give it a shot. I'm going to go for slightly smaller row houses. I'm going to sort of leave that that gap between the buildings because then I can play around. Actually, this right here can be its own little building. It can be maybe something like, do I want to do North American mixed? I don't think I do. I think we'll stick with the EU mixed for this this little corner section here and see how that plays out. Get a couple little buildings in there. Maybe take this guy out so we can bring a little path down through there. I don't think a path in here is going to be a great idea, but I'm willing to give it a shot. I also, oh, it'll connect to this this little lane, so that's fine. I don't know. I like this idea. I like the idea of throwing a bunch of mixed stuff in here. I think it's going to look cool. I'm hoping it's going to look cool. There's no guarantees, but I'm definitely hoping for the best. Oh, you know what? I'm actually kind of happy with this. I think it's turned out pretty well. I don't love this little corner. This definitely wasn't supposed to build the way it's built there. So we're going to have to go in and take this out so these guys rebuild properly and they're all facing the right way. But I like this a lot. I really like the birch trees back here. I really like the poplar trees along the train tracks. We have some more trees in between more of the buildings. We have some little paths going in here. So I just really like how this space has turned out. I think it turned out pretty nicely. I don't think, I don't know if I love this. I don't know how I feel about like this little corner here, but it's not the end of the world. It is by no means at all the end of the world. I think the North American row houses look pretty solid as well. They are a little different to the EU ones, but they, you know, it's a little bit of a different flavor for this space. This entire space here is going to need to be filled in at some point. This space as well is going to need to be filled in. This area here, I'm really not too sure what to do with because at the moment this space actually can't be zoned because I have a retaining wall along this this road. So I'm not really 100% sure what to do with this space at all. I guess if I wanted to, I could bring a road back to here, although that's not really behaving the way I would want it to. That's really not what I was looking for in the slightest. If I could bring a road back to here and have it behave nicely, which again, it really doesn't. You know what? What if I bring it this way? What if I bring a road out here? That's better. If I do this sort of thing, I'm wondering, first off, I could connect it to there. And actually, I'm sort of willing to do that. I think I'm kind of willing to do that. I think that'll be okay. What I'm thinking for the rest of this space, though, is basically offices. I don't think offices would be a terrible shout in here. We could do some parking, but I think we're just going to do some office zoning. Some low density office zoning would be pretty good in here, I think. So we'll just do a little something around here. We do have some office demand. I would imagine it's probably higher density than what I'm offering right here, but this is what they're getting and this is what they'll take. It's my final offer really is this kind of zoning right here. So they can live with that and they can deal with that, or they can just not move in. It's entirely on them. But this is still kind of a cool access way. I don't know that I love the idea of this being used as a little shortcut into this space, but for the time being, again, it's going to do the job. And I guess what we'll also do is just fill this space with more office zoning, since there is the a little bit of demand for it. We'll fill that as well. And then the rest of this, honestly, I'm thinking oak trees. I'm thinking we just lean into making this space kind of nice. I'd also really appreciate if we could get a little office building right about here. I guess that's fine. So now we've pretty much filled everything. Now we can go in, do a bunch of oak trees. We'll do some hickory trees in here as well. We'll just make this sort of a natural kind of grassy space. Oh, you know what? I'm actually really quite pleased with this. I think the little tiny office buildings at the back here look fantastic. We've got some different buildings up front here now, which look fantastic. We have more offices coming in here because I did change up the zoning just a little bit. I think it looks good though. I think the trees were a pretty good call, and we've managed to fill in a space that I didn't know what I was going to do with it. I've also, you might have just noticed a train going along the waterfront here. I've also connected this train line just over here, pretty much the exact same thing I did with the other one. I know this is a little bit needless, it's a little bit pointless, and it's purely for the aesthetics, but I love this. I do. I love this. I think this looks so good. And I think it's going to look really cool just having trains going along the waterfront above the road. It's a cool vibe, you know? That's what we're going for. We're going for cool vibes with this little waterfront right here. We also have the passenger trains occasionally going through the middle here, which is great news. This, on the other hand, is not great news. We might want to look in to flipping some things around here a little bit. I think we might want this road to be asymmetrical so that traffic can kind of do its thing. So we'll give them 3 lanes, you know, one going right, one going left, one going straight on. There are some lanes that are doing multiple things there, but we'll give them the little bit of asymmetry right there. This road's not too bad. This one's actually fine. Although maybe we do this and maybe we do this. So we just push it a little bit closer to the fire station, which I'm fine with. And hopefully that's going to help traffic just that little bit. Hopefully this helps out traffic a little bit. I don't love that they're just stopping on the train tracks. I'm not a huge fan of that, but not really much I can do about it right now. Actually, a really good number of people waiting for a train though. That's exciting. 466 people right here. If we look at subway line 2, we have currently 26 waiting there. We have 258 waiting there. We have 210 waiting there. We have 6 waiting there. We have 126 in the trains right now. If we go back and we look at the train line, 138 passengers, 336 there, 38 right there, 290, and 108. This thing can hold... How many people can get on a single train here? 840. So again, I think we're probably okay in terms of the number of vehicles on that line. If we have a look at our transport overall, the trams are back up to 11,000. Wow, hold on a minute. The subway is up to 20. Okay, so usage is actually still not getting maxed out, which is great, but we are up to 27,000 people using the subways. That's very exciting. That's actually kind of huge, considering we don't have that many subway stations around the city. Is this one getting used much? There's 53 people. I'd imagine all of these people are going to as well. Yeah, this one's getting used a decent amount. That's not bad. I'm actually really pleased about that. Are people using the highway properly? I mean, the traffic has mostly cleared out, which is great. And it looks like they are in fact going straight over. Good. That's what we want to see. That's what I'm looking for. Oh, look at this. I love the stack. I love it. We got the cars here. We got the trains here. We got cars going over the top. We got the cargo train going in front of the residential buildings. We got another one coming the other. It's so good looking. It's, again, it's so needless and so silly, but I love it. I really do. I'm going to be saying that for a while, man. I hope everyone realizes. I hope every one of you realizes. Every opportunity I get to just look at this and be like, yep, I did that. This was such a good idea. A huge thing. I'm so sorry. I can't remember the username of the person that suggested it in the comments, but whoever you were, whoever you are, this was such a good shout. It really was. Also, hold on a minute. Oh no. The little alleyways. Oh, it's messing with the key. Well, we're going to have to rebuild this at some point. I'm not doing it right now. I'm willing to let that be, simply because I'm really pleased with how this space has turned out. Anyway, that is gonna do us for today. We've managed to get some subways in here. We redeveloped the projects. We're starting to get a bit of a waterfront going in Linden as well, which is very exciting. I'm gonna be honest with you. I've been thinking about what the future might hold for Linden, because this is the first city that I've ever built in Cities Skylines II, and I think there's a lot of things I would do differently if I was to start again. Now, this isn't me saying in a roundabout way that Linden is going anywhere anytime soon, but I might start up a different city and sort of run two cities at the same time on Cities Skylines. I don't think we've ever, I think maybe once in the channel's history, we ran two separate Cities Skylines series at the same time. I can't remember what they were. It might've been one of the challenges and then a DLC came out or something like that, but whatever it was many years ago. But I like the idea of doing a city that has a North American base, so the roads will look a bit different. I think that would be kind of cool. The emergency vehicles will look a bit different. That's not to say I'm going to build a North American style city, because Lord knows I can't build a city that looks anything like anything, really. My cities are definitely mine and they don't make sense, but I'm considering it. I'm liking the idea of continuing Linden and kind of looking at different parts of it and saying that was the first thing I ever built. It was relatively basic, and now look what we can do with alleyways and all the mods and all that stuff. I don't know. I'm thinking out loud. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And I guess all that's left to say is thank you very much for watching, everybody. It's been an absolute pleasure as always. And as always, I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.